know that I do not collect taxes, nor do I decide policy decisions. There's another guy who collects taxes. His title is tax collector.
Oh.
The assessor is to the tax code. The CHP officer is to the penal code. I enforce the law, I don't make it. My constitutional responsibility entails identifying property, determining its value, carrying out all the property laws enacted by the California voters. We established the assessment role, which is the foundation for the property tax system. It's the first step in the property tax system that funds our schools and local agencies and provides those better services that we all depend on, such as safety, education, roads, and parks. That being said,
assessor was John Nogan, who was pro-illegal in Huntington Park.
Real estate market. My concern with the current tax law is that by capping state and local tax deductions, we will see a negative impact on our real estate market and on homeownership as a whole.
Maybe it'll be easier to buy a
There are a
home.
number of incentives. The deductions were enacted to encourage homeownership and to bring the American dream back within reach, essentially by lowering the overall tax burden. The new law reverses these incentives that have helped our housing market recover from the recession of 10 years ago. And while the name of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is an attractive title,
it's true.
It's really intended to mask the realities of what it does. Our analysis indicates that the loss of these deductions is going to increase the cost of property ownership, which will have a negative impact on property values and potentially on home ownership as a whole. It's unclear what the result will be. It probably isn't going to have major reduction in property values, but if your costs go up by $10,000, the loss of those deductions.
Are your taxes going down?
It stands to reason that
my house money went up.
Pay for a home is going to reduce as well. So we will continue to monitor this through my office and keep the public informed about what's happening in the market. We are also keeping local governments informed. I know that cities, school districts, the county itself are nervous about what will happen to property assessments and the impact it will have on their revenues, which we all rely upon to fund vital public services. So that's my role is probably one of the more collaborative roles from some of the issues that we discussed here tonight, but I'm happy that I have the opportunity here to share with you a little bit about what county assessors do and how it will be impacted by this legislation.
Whoa, that's scary. This is supposed to be a safe space. It's not working.
Hi, I'm Jason O. I'm a professor of law at UCLA. I specialize in tax law and policy.
How about immigration?
I'd also like to thank the Congresswoman for putting together this great event. I'm an educator by nature, so love to hear what kind of questions you have with respect to this bill. There's a lot going on. I'd just like to take my few minutes, underline a few things that the Congresswoman said. This isn't a middle-class tax cut.
Yes,
and
it
I
is.
think that's one of the most important things to realize about this piece of legislation.
Liar.
Is that, yes, a lot of people in 2018 are going to see a small reduction in the taxes that they pay.
Yay! Yay! That's awesome.
They might be surprised to find that those tax decreases disappear over the next 3 to 7 years.
No, they don't.
Fear. You have to reintroduce the bill.
So one of the, I think, interesting things about this particular legislation is that individual tax cuts are temporary, while the permanent tax, the corporate tax
Can I have another
cuts
card?
are permanent. And this is something that both Congresswomen referred to, and I think is one of the important pieces of this bill and how it works from a budgetary perspective. I'm not against corporate tax cuts.
Good.
Corporate tax cuts have their place.
Yep.
I think one of the interesting questions we'll see answered over the next
You're the one that's talking. You're the one that's talking.
Ends up benefiting from those corporate
He's the one that's
tax cuts.
talking, not me.
Is it going to be shareholders?
Turn around.
We've already seen huge buybacks of stock from many large corporations. Or are there going to be increases in real wages.
Both.
We've seen some evidence of that, not a lot of evidence of that. I think the bonuses that companies are paying, these one-time bonuses, are a little bit a sleight of hand.
Crumbs?
What we really want to see is real wage growth to help the American middle class.
Yes.
And whether or not that happens, I think we'll see over the next 5 to 10 years.
She has a question.
I think that we're actually going to allow the other two gentlemen to introduce themselves, and then...
Okay, really quick. Hurry.
Just one question. Okay, because it was related to what he said.
Everyone is expected to comply with the code of conduct.
Okay.
If you have a question,
Yay! Yay! You need to behave. Everyone needs to behave.
please submit a card, write it on paper, hold it up, and staff will come pick it up, and I will field your question. Thank you. Please.
I need a card.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Derek Ganser, and I am the Area Manager for Stakeholder Liaison Field Operations for the Internal Revenue Service. I have a geographic jurisdiction.
We don't like you.
California, Hawaii, and Nevada. And my primary mission is to inform the public, to educate, and assist them in meeting and understanding the tax laws, policies, programs, and regulations that exist as it relates to tax administration.
In the card.
We do that by doing a lot of events like this and working with organizations like the Congresswomen, and their staffs. We work with various faith-based organizations, industry organizations.
Thank you.
We do a lot of work with the tax professional, financial services community. And again, our main purview is to try to inform you, the public, about the policies, programs, procedures that make up our tax administration system. So I'm going to try to manage some expectations a little bit. I know that the prevailing theme of this event is tax reform.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. And I'll explain to you why. The IRS is responsible for tax administration
And harassing Tea Party.
Policy. And so, like you, we are in the process of trying to educate ourselves, interpret, and figure out how to apply the provisions within the tax reform. And as you know, the tax reform legislation is pretty big, and in some cases complicated. And there are some significant changes that have been enacted. And so our agency right now is in the process of trying to parse through the various parts of the tax reform legislation.
Scary.
Trying to figure out how do we properly interpret it, and then how do we apply it, and then how do we enforce it.
And leave Tea Party people alone.
I probably don't have a whole lot to talk about. There are a couple things that I will speak to. But again, right now we're trying to interpret a lot of it. Congresswoman shared earlier, this was done relatively quickly. There was not a lot of public hearings or discussions.
Didn't need any.
We found out just like you guys found out.
No.
So,
Whoa.
Again,
Hot
I'm
mic.
trying to manage some expectations. I don't know if I've done a good job or not, but that is where we are. But with that being said, one area where we are certainly
I thought you didn't have a lot to talk about.
get some information out to you is with regards to the subject that's been brought up, and that is some of you have experienced an increase in maybe your net take-home pay.
Yeah.
There was an adjustment that was made to the statutory tax rates, and which that meant that the withholding tables have been adjusted as well.
Yep.
Those are now public, and some of you may have seen a net increase in your take-home pay.
Yay.
So with that being said,
Yeah.
I just want to mention that we are encouraging you, before you get too far into this tax year, you probably want to do what we're calling a paycheck check.
All right.
And that is because that increase could be kind of perceived as a sugar. Okay. So while your statutory tax rate may have
Oh. 2 mics.
while your statutory tax rate may have gone down, that does not mean that your effective tax rate would also go down.
Oh.
So it's important that you do the entire calculation to determine what is really the net effect with the new tax reform provisions. And there are a lot of other variables that go into that other than just your withholding. There are provisions that will impact your ability or likelihood of itemizing certain deductions that you may be taking. It is much bigger than just an adjustment in your withholding and
Right.
an increase in your pay.
Right.
So we are encouraging you all to do a paycheck checkup.
All right.
Check your withholding, project out exactly what your tax responsibilities are going to be. And will soon be launching on the IRS.gov website a withholding calculator that will allow you to be able to do that. We're also going to be issuing new W-4 forms that will be more amenable with the new tax provisions, and those should be coming out shortly. And so again, we are encouraging you right now, in terms of the new tax reform provisions, right now our main focus is to make sure that everyone is informed.
Yeah.
And again, we implore upon you to do a paycheck checkup and make sure that this increase in your pay is not a prelude to a large tax liability next year.
Oh. I want to ask a question. I have a question.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Michael Schuler. I'm really honored to be here. I'd like to
Who are
thank
you?
all Saints and Juliana for holding this event. I'd like to thank